Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we'll learn about some advanced concept and we'll also learn about the SVG vectors, how to work with it, and some of the advanced payload that can be created with the JavaScript code. So you can see right here that we have got this XSS cheat sheet. You can just get this link from the description, and now you can see all of these event based XSS, and it has description attached to it. So you can see the resource based here, and you will see how this works. So we have SVG unload right over here, which is saying that HTML context tag injection will see how to use these SVG vectors in the payload. You can see the on mouse over, you can see all of these payload over here. So you can just go one by one, or you can simply go through this lecture. So in this lecture we'll see how to make the advanced payload with this website. So we'll see these steps to website over here. You can simply go to this prompt.yaml and go to this 0 here, which is the first challenge. So let's get started. So first of all, let's get some input. So let me just hit some input over here. So I'll say hello. So hello has been reflected in the values, so you know how to now create the payload so as to run your payload. So first of all, you have to close your values. After that, you can just open your script. So let me just open my script. I'll just say alert and give me the message. I'll just close my script. Then you could see there is a prompt. That means we can go to the challenge 1. So let's see. In this challenge, you can see the function that is going to be executed, and you should have guessed that this will just take the input and it will just replace or strip this part. So let's see what is happening over here. So when I just say hello, so hello has been reflected inside this article, which was our input right here inside this article tag. But when I just say something like script and close this script, then this script will be invisible inside this article tag. That means there is something to do with this script. So there will be something. If I just make the image tag, and if I just close this image, it will be invisible over here. So that means we need to do something in order to make this visible, and there comes this SVG unload method. It is very important. So you can go to this cheat sheet and see that we have something that is SVG, and it should be unload method. So unload is basically going to be the event which will be triggered when all the objects will be loaded. So we can just go at the top over here to see for the SVG, and you can see this method right over here. So you can just go over here and just paste it down. So we want to just execute this, so I'll just put the colon at the end. So SVG is the vector here, and the unload will be called when the object is loaded. And when I just say SVG alert, then you could see we have successfully loaded. So let me just go to 2 now, and now let me say hello again. So text has been encoded here. So let me just run my script. So I'll just say script, so it is visible over here. If I say alert and 1, and if I just run script again, then you could see that this opening parenthesis has been invisible over here. So it has been just invisible. That means we need to do something encoding so as to give these parentheses. So here you can see this escape method has been called in this input, whatever input it has, and it will just replace this opening parenthesis with empty string. That means we need to encode this opening parenthesis. So I have this website here, that is web encoding utility. So for the opening parenthesis, you have this encoding. So let me just take all of this and just go over here and just paste it instead of this opening parenthesis. But you could see that instead of just executing the alert or the prompt message, it has reflected the plain message over here. So if it is the case that you get the plain message, then you have to use SVG vector. So you could see that when I just type here SVG, it has got us a prompt. So you would wonder why this SVG has been used. So I got some important information online here in the Stack Exchange. So this is pretty much what it explains about the SVG vector. So you could see that the script tag has this cdata element. So that means this any field which is this opening, that is angular bracket, at the rate, and basically this AND character, everything has been encoded. Basically you can see this is the encoded form in this script. But in the case of a SVG, which is the script in the SVG is basically the XML terms. That means the element SVG script is the SVG namespace. That means the SVG script element is the namespace which are different element. That means it do not need to be encoded. So everything over here was a plain text if it was not SVG. But SVG will not do encoding. It will simply put same as here. So if I just pass this, that is opening parenthesis, it won't parsed or it won't get encoded. It will simply remain the opening parenthesis, because the concept of cdata element is only in the SGML world that this HTML has developed. So you must remember that one thing: if plain text has been the output, then you need to just pass SVG, which is our vector. If plain text has been reflected in the source, that you can see here in the HTML source, it has the plain text over here. In that case, it should be SVG vector, because in the SVG world this encoding is simply not done. That means it won't be parsed, it will remain the opening parenthesis. So we have just successfully made to the execution of the challenge 2. Let's go to the challenge 3. So we have now the challenge 3. Let's see what it happens over here. So when I just say hello, it has been reflected in this part which is in hello, and it is inside this comment. So you could simply see we have written everything and it was inside this basically what we say, this is the comment in the HTML. So first of all we have to close this comment. So for that I have to first of all close this comment, and when I just encode, when I just see something that when I try to close this, then it has been replaced with underscore. You can simply see over here. So we need to just close or just break out this comment with this closing. So we are now out of this comment. So after that, instead of hello, we have to open again the SVG vector with unload. So unload is basically a event that is going to be triggered when all the object is loaded. That means this SVG is the vector that will just see this information if you want to get more knowledge about the SVG vector, but it is simply going to be called when there is a plain text. So if the HTML source is showing the plain text, you need to just pass the SVG vector. And on the unload, I can simply prompt, or you can also pass the alert message, and you'll say you win over here, you won. So this can be the message over here. So next one is the fourth challenge. So here I'll just see some of the method right here. So it is going to just get the sample script. So whatever we just pass here, so let me just pass, instead of this testers, yes, I'll just pass this much link, and let's see what is happening over here. It is a simple challenge, by the way. So let me just paste it down here. So it is showing that the link is injected inside this src. So if you remember, we have learned about this in the JavaScript basics section, where this src was to load the external JavaScript. So if you just get all of this link and let's paste it down here, then you will see that test.js is loaded. So this is the way to load the external file to this current document with this link over here inside this src attribute. So let's go for the challenge 5. So let's do something over here. So I want to say hello. So when I say hello, it has been reflected in the field. So this is the way where you can see something is inside this value field. So if I just make my simple payload, which is my script, and if I just say alert and 1 and again close my script tag, then you could see something is happening over here. This payload or anything that you write in this field has inserted inside this value as a string. So it is reflected inside this string. So first of all, we have to change its type. So I'll just make close first for this value field. Now value field has been closed. After that, I want to put another external value, and after that I want to put external attribute over here, which is the type. And if you remember, this type is a attribute of this input field. So I want to give the type, I want to say the image. I want to say image because we want to make use of image field now. And we see something like on error. So on error is the event which is going to be loaded when there is no image found in the src. So in this case, I want to load this prompt, or you can also say the alert message, and I'll just say 1. So what happened here is basically we created the type image, which is here, and let me just hit enter, and it is not executed because the type has been here image and on src, and it should be on error. It will get the prompt of 1. So what happened here was we just didn't give maybe this one. So you can see the prompt over here, that is U1. So what we just did here was we just changed the type from the text to the image, and in the image attribute we have the event that is on error. So this will be triggered when this image field won't get any src. So here src is empty, that means this on error will be triggered, which will give us a prompt of 1, and you can see U1 over here. So let's go for another challenge here. So instead of that, for this you can also make other certain versions. So you can also make use of on resize attribute, and this can be made with prompt of 1. Let me enter again, it is not working. Okay, let me see on resize, and okay, I'll just say on input, and let's see on input. It must work, but on input, and just go over here and the prompt of 1. It must work, but it is not working. So let's just stick to the basics. So here we are just getting the prompt from the image because we want to change from this text to the type, which will be image, which is simply doing, first of all we'll just close our value and we'll just change our type to image and src. because image tag has the src, and on error, which will be triggered when there is the error in the image, then it will just prompt me 1. Then you can see u1 over here. You can also say alert instead of prompt, and you will see the alert box over here. So let's go for the challenge 6. So we have long escape method over here. So let's see what it is doing. So instead of just see what it is doing, let's go and see hello over here. So it is saying invalid data. So this following would do something like a redirection. Let me see. Okay, so it is saying forbid JavaScript. Let's do something like JavaScript, which is the way to inject some prompt. So I'll just say prompt. Prompt is basically the alert and 1, and let me see hash and give the actions. So in order to give the actions, I'll just make use of this curly braces, and this action should be okay. This action is the attribute over here, and I'll just pass true to this action. Then it will show us that is u1. So what we did over here was DOM clobbering. So DOM clobbering can strike in the various situations. So it is the way to interact or influence a website HTML. So we just made use of a DOM clobbering to interact with the websites. So it is very much problematic, and there is 2 groups of attribute. We can see we have the name here, and basically name attributes, and we also have the ID attributes. Depending on which HTML they are being used with, an attacker can override this property, disable the function. So in here we made the actions to be enabled. So depending on which HTML, and disable or enable and influence the JavaScript logic. So best way to just get around is not to allow this name or the actions ID attribute in user controlled HTML content. In this case, we made use of this actions attribute to be just replaced with this prompt. So that means we just made use of DOM clobbering. We just assess the elements of the HTML to just inject our own code of this prompt. So this will be wrap for this lecture. We'll just continue with upcoming challenges in the upcoming lecture. See you in the next one.